What's going on? A pluses, nerd mixes. It is your boy Indy Uchiha, and I'm here to bring you the review for The Flash Season 7, Episode 8, The People versus Killer Frost. This episode was actually entertaining. Um, it brought what I'm guessing is the wrap up to the whole Clear Frost storyline we have earlier this year, which is kind of messed up because, to be honest with you, it's one of the most compelling storylines over the course of the past 2 seasons. But before we get into that, let me tell you about the Patreon. A plus opinions, A plus hero report, A plus more phenomenal has a Patreon with different tiers: $1, $5, $10, with different stuff added towards each tier. One great thing about this Patreon is you get the audio version of all the reviews and pods that we do on here, among access to the Discord. The only way to get access to the Discord is to be a member of the Patreon. Plus, we're giving you Patreon exclusive things to check out, like reviews on Sentai series, character breakdowns, among much, much more. Come and show your support. Help A plus opinions, A plus hero report, and A plus more phenomenal grow. Become a Patreon. Do your A plus duty. Yeah. Now, back into going into what's going on with this episode. It was actually, like I said, pretty good, but it's also giving away one of it's putting an end to one of the best storylines that has happened on this series itself, dealing with Killer Frost becoming uh selfless, you know what I'm saying, and being able to live her own life, and the sisterhood, the bond that's being created between Caitlin and Frost is one of the things that will be missing. But it'll be interesting to see how Caitlin deals with the loss of Frost at the end. It's basically about self-sacrifice and betrayal is what happens in this episode. Let's get into what the Flash himself did before we get into the bulk of what's going on with Frost and all the other characters, because it seems like they took the Flash out of the conversation just so he couldn't, I guess, sway public opinion on what was going to happen with Frost. It was pretty interesting though. But it was cool to actually see them try to handle a situation without Barry. It's been a while since they had to do to solve a problem. You know what I'm saying? Without him completely, it was either Barry losing his powers, or but it was always some remnants of him there. This is him completely gone from the situation. We haven't saw this really since he got lost in the Speed Force. You know what I'm saying? But Barry is working with the Speed Force Nora in order to track down the Strength Force. Uh, and they end up at some type of camp, like what would this be called? Um, it's like one of them things where people come to get checked out to get shots. You know what I'm saying? And stuff out like outsource outlook. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But I know it's in Keystone City. Outreach program. Yeah, it takes them to an outreach program where they end up talking to a young lady named Alexa, who might actually have the strength force inside of her, right? So they spend most of their time trying to convince her, but the way Nora's being super aggressive and pushy kind of throws Alexa a little bit off in what's going on. So Barry tries to talk to her, she refused to go in. What happened next is that back at Star Labs, Barry and the Speed Force argue over how to handle the situation when it comes to Alexa. Like Nora wants him to just speed off and bring her back and then do the test and then take her back and she'll never know what happened. But you have Iris who kind of gets in between them and says this isn't Barry how Barry handles things, and Barry's gonna handle it in his own way, which he ends up suiting up as the Flash and going to talk to Alexa because Alexa will trust the Flash and telling her to come back, trust Barry, trust them in Star Labs, and let them run this test, which she has noticed that some things are happening wrong, and she has some blackout moments after storms and stuff happen where she can't remember what's going on. So it's pretty interesting how that went on. But Barry convinced her to come back, and they run those tests, right? While they run those tests, they find out that she does have a strength force in her. They put those negative ions or whatever it is inside of her. She starts to vamp out a little bit. So Barry turns the machine off, talks to her, starts to tell her, we're gonna help you. We're gonna get you through this. You have nothing to worry about. And while he's talking to her, Nora blasts her with lightning, knocks her unconscious. She's still living though. So Barry's like, what are you doing? He's arguing with Nora. Nora's like, you on my side? She's gonna try to kill me. We have to get rid of her now. So Nora turns to Iris and blames Iris for talking Barry into handling the stuff this way and decides to throw lightning at Iris. Barry wishes in front of Iris, throws lightning back. It combines, but that's exactly what Nora needed because it combined into like a force ball, like a force lightning ball. And then she throws that at Alexa and kills her. So, and then tells Barry, you got to pick a side. So this whole dynamic is going to be very, very interesting how this goes down for the future. And the relationship between the Speed Force Nora and what goes on with the Flash and Team Flash is probably what I needed to take place over the whole Frost Caitlin scenario that I was really enjoying. Now, when it comes to Caitlin, Frost and Frost, but Frost decided to skip a trial and just plead guilty to take whatever, you know what I'm saying? She's ready to pay for the crimes that she committed, basically. That's what she wants to do. But you got Caitlin, who is so attached to Frost, is just scared of losing her. So they're all trying to figure out how to get Frost out of the situation, and they're thinking of non-legal means to do it. And Frost is like, no, I want to handle this my way. I did this, so I'm going to deal with it in my way. I don't want you guys doing anything, you know what I'm saying, to help me, right? And so Cecile is doing her best to try to get Frost a light sentence. She's like talking to the judge, reminding the judge all the lives she saved, telling her that she only wants to work alongside the Flash to protect the citizens. But the prosecution has a rebuttal that says that Killer Frost must pay for her crimes and asks for no jail time, right? But instead wants to force her to take the Medicure to eliminate her powers, right? Now, Caitlin, Cecile, Cisco, Allegra, Joe, they're all worried about this situation because they're worried that since Frost is not a human with metahuman abilities, that she's actually a meta that was separate, you know what I'm saying, totally separate personality, separate thing that is just full meta, that if she takes the cure, it could kill you. So Caitlin's like panicking, feeling that Frost is going to be forced to take the cure and she'll die because she was created by her cold DNA powers, right? Nobody understands why Kramer's going so hard. Frost is sitting in a room just reminding everybody that she played the way she wants to play and she wants to handle this. Nothing sneaky, nothing underhanded. Just do this like it's supposed to do, and then leaves the room. Caitlin, Cisco, Allegra, you already know what they on. They're like, hey, how are we going to help Frost, right? Okay. This is the plan that they come up with. Interesting ploy, but totally feel like it was a waste of time. They show up at CCPD, right? Caitlin distracts the front desk officer while Allegra sneaks around, right? Cisco knocks out the security cameras. Allegra's trying to get to the storage area while be seen, but that lady Kramer walks out and runs right into Allegra. Allegra tricks her into saying that she's there for an interview for the citizen. Caitlin go ahead and uses the device they had to make all of the Medicure that was there inactive. But before that, like at the beginning of the episode, you saw Kramer walking into some type of facility and she had one copy of the cure and she was actually getting more copies made. I think it was Argus she walked into. So them thinking that they have that whole situation settled, right? And what's going on with the Medicure and all that, they're thinking that Killer Frost is safe. But back in court, I think Cecile got Joe to testify, and Joe's testimony was really, 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 really dope, because his testimony told the judge, told everyone in court, told the jury that that Frost didn't do the crime she's charged with. No, that she did. I'm sorry. She did do the crime she was charged with, but she spent the last bunch of years or months, I forget the time between what's going on, saving the city and the world, right? That everybody there owes Frost their lives, and just saying that this is the line that got me when he said it. It was dang, I should have took more notes. How could the court even consider forcing her to take the Medicare, because that's not enforcing justice? The judge was feeling what Joe had to say, and said she'll give her prosecution now, but then Kramer's attorney, prosecutor, interrupts, right? And said that there was some new evidence. Someone savaged Cox security cameras and destroyed the metahuman cure at CCPD. Frost claims that she didn't do it. She's been in court and custody the whole time. Kramer's got a new replicated version. Caitlin stands up and admits it was all her doing, and like just begs the court not to convict Frost. The judge gets order in the courtroom and says she's going to her chambers to make the decision, right? While they're in the defense room, you get Caitlin and you get Frost talking, and Frost basically just yells at Caitlin for doing exactly what she told her not to do. That's where the distrust, the disloyalty comes in, right? Caitlin pleads for her to understand, wants her to protect her, can't bear the idea of losing her. Caitlin finally gets the message back from her mom from the test that says if she takes the course, she would be human and it won't get rid of her. Caitlin tells her, look, you could take it, we could still be sisters. And Frost just looks angry, like if she's forced to take it. And this was one of the biggest reasons why I liked it. They didn't make Frost do this out of selfish precedent, right? She basically said if she takes the cure, it sets the precedent for every metahuman who does something the government disapproves of will be forced to take it, no matter who it is. It could be the Flash, it could be Frost, it could be anybody that's helping. If they do something that the government disapproves of, they can end up taking it. It doesn't necessarily have to be wrong. And if she takes the cure, she'll end up losing who she is, right? So that is crazy to me, right? So she tells Katie, like, you need to stop. You're not doing this for you. You're doing this for yourself. You're being selfish, and I want to be selfless. Basically, that's how she go it. I loved Danielle Panabaker's performance in this episode, especially when she was playing opposite herself, because you knew how hard that had to be, right? Her probably doing a scene in makeup and doing something without makeup and trying to convey that emotion to probably a stand-in or marking right there. I mean, yo, the eye connection, the reactions that she gave to different stuff that Frost was saying to Caitlin. I mean, it was really good, and my hat's off, you know what I'm saying, to what she had to do. Kramer gets a message to meet Joe in the interview room, and Frost is there instead. Frost asks, why do you hate me so much? And then Kramer goes into talking about how how she trusted a metahuman before, and the metahuman ended up killing her whole squad. So her goal was to go like after all metas. So you start to get a background of why she's so aggressive, although a cheap, you know what I'm saying, like storyline plug in order to keep it doing it. You kind of understood why. I would have liked it to have been something bigger with the government. That's why she would sit there, and it would have been a little bit more interesting. But you know what I'm saying? I digress. You get Caitlin and Frost who have a chat. Frost tells Caitlin about what Kramer said. Frost admits she doesn't care what happened to her, but she wants to protect other metas. And then Caitlin comes up with a new idea to stop Kramer. So they go back to the courtroom, and before the judge delivers her decision, Frost asks to make a statement. And I loved what Frost tells the courts about taking away metahuman's powers, right? She says, shouldn't justice be changing how a person acts, not how a person is born? You know what I'm saying? She learned that by protecting people, she became selfless instead of selfish. And in like her last statement, she requested life in prison without parole. The judge tried to interject, saying she wanted to get Frost to care, but the judge tells like the Kramer to sit down and be silent. And asks Frost, does she understand what she's asking for? Frost says yes, and the judge grants life in prison, no parole. Then you get like a hug, but one final hug between, you know what I'm saying, Frost and Caitlin, and as she's walked out the court, right? And then later that night, Kramer goes to tell Joe bye in his office and says, despite the difference, she respected him. And he had a bomb. He said she's a good cop, but suggests she needs to check which side of the law, like what side of the line she's on. Man, it was really, really good. I really liked how they closed that out. I really like how they set up another plot line in order to keep us entwined in what's going on, especially between. I kind of felt like this is where it was going with Speed Force Nora, but I feel like they could have dedicated the entire episode to People versus Frost, and that it took a little bit away from that, because I felt like the whole thing of her going through court happened too fast. You know what I'm saying? That she should have been able, as big as this character was over the past couple of seasons, she'd been able to have an episode to herself. But we'll see what happens. What did you guys think about this episode? Go ahead and put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and follow us on all our social media at A+ Opinions. And you can follow me personally at Nerd Mix Alpha. I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the Flash review. And until next time, keep it A+. This has been a Nerd Mix. Indy out.